What's up guys, today I'm bringing you the Spartan Barbarian build.
This is Sparta!
This build consists in using the kick and the ground stomp to reset the leap and to nuke the enemies with the Hammer of the Ancients. So the gear is basically easy to find and put together. In the helmet I'm using the Archon of the Protector to get that barrier when you come in contact with an elite. Another defensive aspect here, Tunic of Disobedience, so I can get a little bit more of defense when I'm fighting and dealing damage. This may be switched over to another one that you like, maybe if you like to use in the bubble. I'm trying something different now because the bubble sometimes pushes enemies away from me when I'm using Hammer of the Ancients, and it's kind of annoying, so I sometimes don't use that. The other one, attacking enemies with basic skills increase the damage of your core, so Hammer of the Ancients is already super strong. With this it can be even stronger. Here I'm using another defensive one to get some damage reduction, since I'm always hitting with bash 2 to 3 times in order to get that damage bonus. You also get some really good defensive, like here. This is very important. Using the kick or ground stomp resets sleeps go down. It's pretty easy to acquire this aspect. You can find it in the Codex of Power. This one is very important. Hammer of the Ancients quakes outwards, dealing 100% of its damage to enemies. This is not the perfect one, but it's pretty close, so it's very important. So the Hammer of the Ancients reaches a bigger eye area. Skills deal up 20% more damage based on your primary resource. So since I'm leaping and ground stomping and kicking, I'm getting a lot of fury, and so I can always proc this with the highest amount of damage. This one I use just to have my bash faster, and so I can get resources faster, and that bonus of the 3 hits faster. This is another good one to get 56% increased damage to stunned enemies. Since I'm using ground stomp, that shit stuns everyone around me, so it's really good. Plus we can stun enemies that hits us from a distance, which is also good. I'm using Mother's Embrace as the only unique in this build, and it's really easy to come by, because when you are using Hammer of the Ancients, it's a really expensive skill, and since it hits a lot of enemies around you, I'm almost always getting 40% of that resource back. And since in the Paragon boards we got some resources on kill also, so it's really good for sustain and to help me keep the damage going. This one is also very important. It gives an earthquake that gives free damage, and while standing in earthquakes I deal increased damage. This one is a really weak one, it's only 7% increased, but if I find a stronger one, I'm gonna switch here. And here in leap creates the same earthquake, but here it gives me damage reduction. But it doesn't matter, since I have this both here, it doesn't matter if the earthquake is generated through ground stomp or through leap. The both bonuses apply at the same time. See, the both bonuses are up even though I use the ground stomp. Now let's take a look in the skill tree. Here in the skill tree, I just go with the bash here. The bash has a source of fortify also, so combat bash to guarantee that overpower. They're very, very nice. Hammer of the Ancients is our main damage skill. Furious Hammer of the Ancients, so it gives 1% additional damage for each point of fury you had when using it. So we are going to stack fury in our build in order to make its greatest damage possible. You can even use Elixir of Resourcefulness that gives you 50% resource, which means 50% extra damage when you use Hammer of the Ancient with a full fury. So it's very strong in this way. I use charge as my source of unstoppable. I just use it for the unstoppable, really, not focusing much, even though I have 9 points here. It's not really a damage ability. I just use it for the unstoppable and for getting the sweet rage that I get here. When brawling skill damage at least one enemy, you gain berserking for 3 seconds. This is really good because berserking gives you 25% increased damage and 15% increased movement speed, and you can this effect can last up to 5 seconds. So if I'm using leap, I'm using kick, I'm stacking this brawling here until 5 seconds, and I can easily repelish this. So during the fights I'm always with the berserking up, even though I don't use any kind of ultimate to give me berserking. So I have here aggressive stance, just a little bit of damage reduction while berserking. It would be nice to have more points here, but I don't have. I could take points from charge. Maybe I will do it later. Take points from charge and max up this guy here. Okay, then here we get Pit Fighter. We got No Mercy. We got 1 point in Sling Strike, just to have another bonus here to increase the damage. I have 1 point and to slow enemies here with the bleeding, because since I'm using here the outburst to gain thorns and tough as nails and to make them bleed, when the enemies hit me they are automatically bleeding and slowed. So it's two kind of effects that I can have in my weapons to increase even more the damage. I have also imposing presence, just a little bit of maximum life and a little bit of reduction against elites here. I have some points in ground stomp, basically to crowd control enemies and to help reset the leap. Kick, which is very good, that gives vulnerable for 4 seconds and resets leap, and it's also good damage if you can aim the kick to hit enemies with the guy flying around. I have 1 point here in thick skin, 1 point in counter offensive, just to have this kind of little buffs here and there when I get this fortify over 50% of my life. It doesn't happen too much because I'm trying to work that in the Paragon board to make the fortify increase faster. So maybe this guy will be more interesting in the future. I might put some points here, taking from the charge here, put some here and some here, in order to make it even better. But this build is still work in progress, but it's going very well so far. Here in the ultimate ability I'm using none, and I'm using 3 points in heavy-handed because I'm using two-handed weapon all the time, and 3 points in wallop because bludgeoning weapons do 15% increased damage against stunned or vulnerable. I'm using this a lot because Hammer of the Ancients is a bludgeoning weapon skill, so that's why. This is just from a contribution from an item. It also helps out because bash make me overpower after 4 crits, so it's very good. And here I'm using Unbridled Rage. Core skills deal 100% increased damage, but cost 100% more fury. In the beginning I thought this will not be good because it costs a lot of fury, but since I'm stacking a lot of fury gain here in the Paragon boards, in fury on kill and maximum fury, it's working very nice. So let's take a look in the Paragon board real fast. I'm using here a glyph of exploit to increase my damage against vulnerable enemies and to get enemies to become vulnerable with any kind of damage I deal to them. As enemies vulnerable take 20% more damage. So if you have this in your build, you are basically gaining free boosts to your damage. I got Iron Strength, I got Raw Power here, I got tenacity, I got brawn. Then I go to the other board here. This board is the board of the weapons master one, but I'm not going for the legendary node. I just wanted the iron strength here to get strength and armor, and physical damage, more strength, more damage to elites, more physical damage, more attack speed, and here is a little bit of defense. I didn't go for the lightning resistance because I think it's not worth it. I prefer to go to the generic all resistance or the damage ones. So here we get conditioned, resistance to all enemies, to all elements, and you got physical damage and plus strength. The second glyph I have, this is revenge. It gives a huge boost to all my rare nodes within range, and dealing thorns makes the enemy take more damage from me, so it's also another source of free damage. Then I go here for the maximum fury, maximum life, maximum fury, maximum life, and you have here maximum fury, fury and kill here. So this is very important. When clearing mobs, you can basically spam Hammer of the Ancients without making the resource drop, because you got 40% of the resource back because of the ring of the Mother's Embrace, and then you got Fury and Kill here that makes it work, makes it refill your resource. Now I'm working towards this node here to get more damage while fortified and to amplify the fortified regeneration. So it's basically this. I'm working toward this guy, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do after. Maybe I'll go to this guy here so I can get that fortify easier and make that buff, that increase damage when I am fortified, easier. So I'm basically working toward this guy here, and then I'll go here, and I think I'll be in the maximum level by the time. So let's show you guys the build in action. This is a Nightmare tier 34 dungeon. It's no biggie, I'm level 83, so it will not be that hard. It's just to show you guys the gameplay. Jesus Christ, the game is crashing here. Damn it. When you got a lot of weak mobs, you can just spam Hammer of the Ancients and you can still keep your resources up. I use the kick now and then to keep the rage up. Berserk, I mean. I'm not claiming this is the strongest build in the Barbarian, because I think the Whirlwind one is really strong, but I think this is very fun to play. It's not pressing just one button. You gotta play strategically, position yourself, kick the guys, you know. Still hit like a truck, but it's nice to position yourself to get away from danger, kick guys, kick the enemies. Get some. Yeah. See what I told you? The resources is coming back like crazy. Go to the boss now. I think it will be a fast fight. That's it. No. So this is the build, guys. It still have some rooms for improvement, but it's feeling very fun, very nice to play, very strong. Leave the comments below. What do you think? If you like it, if you don't like it, what do you think I could do to improve it? And see you guys in the next one. Crapple out.